I'm here with Dave Leon, founder of The Painted Brain, a nonprofit that uses art as an intervention for folks living with mental health diagnoses. Dave, can you tell us a little about your organization?
Sure. We're really based in the idea that people with mental health issues can really help each other, and there's a sort of fundamental problem within the mental health system that kind of separates people from each other because most treatments are individualized and most agencies are separate from each other as well. So one of the concepts behind The Painted Brain is to create a sense of community that might cross through the barriers of different mental health agencies and bring people together in kind of a way that allows them to help each other and support each other. So one of my fundamental beliefs about a lot of the people I've met dealing with mental health issues over the years is that they have a lot to offer each other, and they don't have to see it as a top-down sort of treatment modality. So I've tried to really create a community that's self-sustaining and self-supporting.
What is the impact of the community that's created by doing this art collectively?
Well, it's really allowed people to come together and support each other through the community. I think one of my underlying beliefs from before this even started was the idea that people with mental health issues can really help each other and need to find ways to connect with each other and have a purpose there. And that's come to fruition. Like a lot of the young artists that I worked with even 10 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, are still involved with the project and become really core members of this bigger community we've built.
So, you know, sometimes we hear about art and the emphasis either being on the product or on the process of creating it, but it sounds like for The Painted Brain, it's something else entirely.
Well, it's different than art therapy because it's not about processing like internal working models or your history, although that can come out, but it's really about doing something in the company of other people that is creating a little bit of vulnerability and a little bit of trust that allows that level of communication to really exist.
How can we use art as an intervention to promote well-being on a community level?
Well, the community, I think, has grown to the point where it's self-supporting. So when a new person comes into our community, they're not just working with me as a social worker or some of our social work interns. They're actually interacting with peer leaders, other consumers who have already been down this road. And so it's really created a space where the community is building itself. That's I think, the intention of these. And what a lot of the people that we work with through The Painted Brain share is a love of creativity in all its guises, through painting, through drawing, through poetry, music, videography. And so we're broad enough so that really whatever somebody's bringing to the table in terms of their artistic interest has a place within the artistic community we're creating.
Sounds like it's really becoming something that's more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, I think it's grown in that direction. It's very gratifying to see it actually seem to work. So
it's fantastic.
Thanks.
What kind of transformation have you seen your clients go through as they receive these services from The Painted Brain?
Well, it's a variety. Some people have really taken on leadership roles and have found ways to use their own history with mental illness to help others. Whereas other people are really members of the community and feel like a part of something and feel safe and connected with each other without necessarily taking on any kind of leadership or that kind of developmental role. Yeah, it's been transformative in different ways. I think people kind of become who they are over time through expressing themselves. And we try to create space for people to sort of make the most of what they become through our project. So.
How would you define art, Dave?
Oh, art is just creating something out of something that wasn't. It's creating symbolism, in a sense. This is an anecdote, but I love it. Like, when Neanderthals and humans existed at the same time about 50,000 years ago, we actually have found in the archaeological record that Neanderthals created tools just like humans did, but they didn't create anything creative, anything that was symbolic or representational. Everything was just functional. And some people have thought that humans' ability to create something that's representational or fantasy relates to the way that humans kind of became the dominant animal in this planet. Because if you can't imagine something that isn't there, then you would never take unnecessary risks, like getting in a boat and traveling out into an ocean that you don't know where the end is. So if you can't fantasize that there's something out there, you would never take those kinds of risks.
Wow.
So I think it's a very fundamental human quality to like want to represent what's inside of us or represent our world in symbolic ways.
So that the implication is that art is part of what makes us human, and our task as social workers is to help our clients live to their full human potential.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like art is a great vehicle through which to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing that comes up when we start a new group is that at least one person in every group will say, like, well, I'm not an artist, like, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And part of it is kind of reframing, like, what that really means. Like, dressing is, like, a form of art. And the way you walk, the way you move through space is, like, your creation of that. So it's really, like, reframing the person's thought about what an artist is versus a non-artist. Because I think a lot of people have this thought that to be an artist means you have this like skill set and you've developed it and you're like advanced in some way. Really, it's just about doing something that's creative.
Sounds like your organization helps the client get in touch with their own voice, whatever it is, and empowers them to express that, even if it doesn't conform to their standards of what art should be.
Yeah, I hope so.
Any closing comments or anything?
No. I mean, this has been a great interview. Thanks.